The Naruto and Boruto universe has one of the best power systems in anime and manga. It's always evolving and changing, thus introducing more mechanics that can be later utilized in very intriguing ways. So today we're going to explain every single power source within this franchise, and it might take a while since it has multiple. Now starting with the most standard form of power application, that being Chakra. This originally stemmed from the Otsutsuki, a race of aliens that travel the cosmos, absorbing the life of every planet in sight, using the power of the Ten Tails. Now it was first explained that Chakra is created by molding your mental and physical energies together, but that was somewhat updated later on in the series. This came in the form of Madara explaining that Chakra was originally given to humans by the Sage of Six Paths, the son of Kaguya Otsutsuki. It was actually meant to be a linking power, something that would connect the mental energies between people. Instead, what ended up happening is that after some time, people used that Chakra not to connect with each other, but instead to link the mental and physical energies within themselves as a way to amplify the Chakra that was given to them. So what this means is that humans weren't able to just use their mental and physical energies to just create Chakra from nothing per se. They instead used the Chakra Hagoromo gave to them to link those energies together, which then amplified that same Chakra. This allowed them to create different variations of jutsu, such as ninjutsu, genjutsu, juinjutsu, kenjutsu, and even certain forms of taijutsu. All of this stems from one's ability to mold and control their chakra, which is also implied to be directly tied to one's life force, which simply means that if one's chakra ever hits zero, they will die. Now the next power source on the list is nature energy. This power source is pretty much the energy generated by the planet itself, not to be confused with the planet's chakra used by Rasengan Uzuhiko, but we're gonna get to that one soon. Now this one more so refers to the energy in the soil, the water, and air, that which one can choose to manipulate in many different ways, one such being the ability to use senjutsu. Now as explained by Fukasaku, one of the great Toad sages, it's all about the balance between mental, physical, and nature energy. If you don't manipulate those three together carefully, you can't produce senjutsu chakra. And just to clarify one thing, mental energy and physical energy is what's used to amplify chakra itself. So in essence, Naruto is just adding nature energy to the production of chakra, which then creates a new type of chakra, that being senjutsu. Now this power can manifest differently based on who teaches you how to enter Sage Mode. So the Toads will bring trainees to Mount Miyaboku, feed them certain edibles, and also apply toad oil to their bodies. This allows them to manifest the Toad's version of Senjutsu, which comes with its own set of abilities. Though if one fails to achieve Toad Sage Mode, it results in them turning into a petrified toad. Now you also have Snake Sage Mode, which is acquired at the Ryuchi Cave. This is done by getting bitten by the Snake Sage itself, which either results in manifestation of the Snake's variant of Sage Mode, or you pretty much get turned into a snake as well. Today, Kabuto is the only character who managed to survive this process, since Orochimaru failed and was literally transformed into a white snake. He's only able to maintain his human form using his body snatching technique known as the Living Corpse Reincarnation Jutsu. Now you do have other versions of Sage Mode as well, such as Hashirama's Sage Mode of unknown origin, and even Kabuto's Dragon Sage Mode, which is an evolved version of Snake Sage Mode. You also have artificial versions of Senjutsu such as Mitsuki's Snake Sage Mode, and even Kashin Koji's Toad Sage Mode. Now the most powerful one we've seen so far is Six Paths Sage Mode, which is a form only used by Naruto. This power is pretty much a combination of Naruto's regular Sage Mode and Hagoromo's Six Paths Senjutsu Chakra, which Naruto received in the Fourth Great War. Naruto then went on to combine that power with Kuruma's Tailed Beast Chakra, which resulted in the Fox-Slitted Pupil. Now this power can also be acquired by retaining the chakra of all 9 Biju, which is why Naruto still has Six Paths Sage Mode in Boruto according to the novels. Note that this power also requires one to have mastery over Sage Mode itself, which means that one simply can't acquire Six Paths Sage Mode with just the power of the Tailed Beast. Speaking of Tailed Beasts, these entities are pretty much one of the most recognizable sources of power within the Naruto universe. We could simplify this by saying that the 9 Tailed Beasts are simply portions of the 10 Tails, which was stated to be a mass of natural energy, but it's a bit more complicated. You see, this somewhat ties into the story of Kaguya Otsutsuki, which is that she came to the planet with Ishiki Otsutsuki, betrayed him, stole the chakra fruit, and later had two children. Now, it was later revealed in chapter 681 that the Ten Tails isn't just the Divine Tree, it's Kaguya herself as well. So when the Ten Tails attacked, it wasn't just the Divine Tree's incarnation trying to reclaim its chakra fruit as stated by Hagoromo. It was actually Kaguya's will attempting to take back the chakra that was dispersed into her two children. So instead of being consumed by the Ten Tails, Kaguya found a way to merge with the Ten Tails instead. This then led to Kaguya awakening her own Biju form, which pretty much manifested in the form of a giant rabbit. In fact, she became the 10th tail of the Ten Tails, as shown when all the Biju chakra was extracted from the host body. This simply means that when Hagoromo created the tail beast from the chakra of the Ten Tails, it wasn't just the power of the Ten Tails that created them, but also the chakra of Kaguya Otsutsuki. So this also explains why the tail beasts are so powerful, being touted as continental level entities with the power to turn the world to ash. Now this may differ depending on the tail beasts, of course, since all 9 of them are not of the same power level. I mean, half of Kurama was able to completely outmatch the power of 6 of them combined, which makes sense since he's the strongest among them. The one thing to note is that the number of tails a tail beast possesses doesn't necessarily correlate to how strong that tail beast is. This was a running misconception for a very long time, but the 8 tails indicated that this wasn't the case in the Fourth Great War. With that said, similar to nature energy and senjutsu, there's a way to amplify the tail beast chakra to make them even more powerful, which would be to become its Jinchuriki. This can be done by sealing the tail beast within someone that's capable of containing its power. That person can then access the power of the beast itself to gain chakra cloaks, chakra modes, and even undergo tail beast transformations. This then amplifies the power of its wielder to crazy amounts, which gets even stronger if the beast wants to share its power. These individuals are referred to as perfect Jinchurikis, which is pretty much someone who has mastered the power of the tail beast sealed inside them by forming a strong bond of relationship. By the way, each tail beast possesses unique abilities, some even possessing Kekkei Genkais. These are then shared with these Jinchurikis if the beast wills it. Now, you do have other aspects of the tail beast as well that we can get into, but I think this should be good enough for the general understanding. Now next on the list we have Planetary Chakra. This one is relatively new to the universe itself as it was first introduced in chapter 4 of Boruto 2 Blue Vortex along with Rasengan Uzuhiko. You see, this Rasengan doesn't just use chakra as we know it, and neither does it use nature energy. For this to make sense, let's go to page 11 of chapter 12, where Boruto goes on to state that Uzuhiko uses the energy of centrifugal force, which accompanies a planet's rotation and orbit. He then goes on to say that he calls it a planet's chakra, but it's really just a new Rasengan that utilizes that energy. Now this might be a tad bit confusing, so let's break it down a bit. So the key detail to take from this is Boruto saying that he calls it the planet's chakra, but what it really utilizes is the energy of centrifugal force. This is very important because everyone thought that Uzuhiko uses nature energy since Boruto is using the energy of the planet, but this was later debunked by the official Boruto database, which listed the ability as ninjutsu instead of senjutsu. It even went as far as saying that Boruto refers to the planetary energy used for Uzuhiko as a planet's chakra, but it's not the same as nature energy used by ninjas such as Naruto and Mitsuki when they enter Sage Mode. So if the ability is using the planet's chakra, but the chakra is not the same as nature energy, which the planet generates, what energy is Boruto using to power Uzuhiko? Well, this takes us back to the energy of centrifugal force. You see, this force is pretty much what you feel when you're moving in a circle and you feel pushed outward. Imagine you're on a merry-go-round. As it spins, you feel like you're being pushed away from the center. That is centrifugal force. It's not a real force per se, but rather a result of inertia, which is the tendency of objects to resist changes in their state of motion. This force appears because your body wants to keep moving in a straight line, but the rotation of the merry-go-round pulls you into a circular path. So centrifugal force itself doesn't have energy per se, but objects moving in a circular path have kinetic energy due to their motion. So what this simply means is that Boruto's new Rasengan is powered by the kinetic energy the planet generates by simply rotating on its axis, which is why he mentions the planet's rotation and orbit. Now what's even crazier is that Boruto claims that if he doesn't hold back, he would be able to kill Hidari in one blow. That's because there's absolutely no limit to the power of Uzuhiko. This of course goes back to Boruto telling Ko that the power rushing through his body will never dissipate, just like how a planet will never stop spinning. This exact logic is what makes the power of Uzuhiko limitless. Since the planet itself will never stop spinning, it will continue to generate more kinetic energy for Boruto to absorb, which then makes it an unlimited source of energy, which then makes the power of the Rasengan itself limitless. Now of course you could argue that one could stop the planet itself from spinning, which negates all of this, but Uzuhiko would be the least of anyone's worries if that does happen. By the way, the chapter also introduced the first con of the power source as well, which is that Boruto needs to take in that energy through both feet, so it has to be directly standing on the ground. This means that one could simply attack him and force him to remove that connection, thus preventing him from ever being able to absorb that kinetic energy. Now this power source also seems to make the persons inflicted by its energy experience an extreme case of vertigo, which means that everything seems to be spinning, thus making them feel off balance. Now this could just be an effect of the Rasengan aspect of it and not necessarily the planetary energy itself, but I guess we'll see soon enough. Up next we have Baryon energy. Now this one is kind of a subset for Tail Beast and normal chakra, but due to it being a new type of energy as stated by Kurama, I feel like it deserves its own spot. You see, the mechanic behind Baryon energy is very similar to that of senjutsu or sage mode. In fact, I would go as far as to say that they're pretty much the same thing with one key difference. Now if we go back to when this form was first introduced in Boruto's manga, Kurama said that we should think of it like nuclear fusion. It's a similar principle to how the sun produces energy. He then went on to clarify that both his and Naruto's chakras are serving as kernels to produce a new type of energy. By the way, nuclear fusion is a reaction in which two atomic particles are combined to form one or more different atomic or subatomic particles. So in this case, the two atomic particles that are being combined would be Naruto's internal energies and Kurama's chakra, or just Naruto's chakra and Kurama's chakra. Then the subatomic particle created would be Baryon energy. Now a key detail missing from this equation is heat. You see, in order to create this new subatomic particle, the materials used must be heated to a very high temperature. This is why objects are heated before undergoing the process of welding or any type of fusion. So this process also applies to sage mode as well. The fusion process consumes your chakra and nature energy to create senjutsu, so it requires a lot of fuel to maintain that process. And this is the same for Baryon mode as well, but to an extreme degree. To the point where, as Kurama puts it, my chakra and yours will get consumed until one or both of our lives run out. You can even see the steam emitting from Naruto's body when he first transformed, which later turned into red vapor. And what exactly does red vapor remind you of? Of course, that would be the 8 gates of death used by Might Guy versus Madara. It was explained that the 8th gate causes the body to continually heat up until it's been cooked from the inside out, reducing the user to ash. This extreme heat is what produces the power displayed by this form, similar to how the heat is what produces the power displayed by Baryon mode, to the point where one of the chakras used in the process burns out completely, similar to the 8 gates. So in a sense, all Kurama did was heat their chakra to an extreme amount, way higher than the heat used to create senjutsu. Similar to how the 8 gates of death heats the chakra way higher than what the prior 7 gates were capable of. Now strength isn't the only feature of Baryon energy, since it also drains the life force of those it comes in contact with. You see, as stated by Kurama, because all chakra is connected, the same power that comes into being by bits of our lives also shaves off the lives of those it comes in contact with. So the energy itself is pretty busted, and on a mechanic level, any two energies should be able to achieve this state, but of course the power level would be a bit different. With that said, those are all the power sources or power energy types within the Naruto franchise. Of course, as I said before, this wasn't a power mechanic explained video, so I'm not going to go into the Sharingan, the Byakugan, and all that lovely stuff. But if you guys want to see that video, you guys can let me know down in the comment section. And of course, if I missed any energy source that existed in canon, which is the manga, you guys can let me know as well, and I'll just make a different video, of course. But yeah, with that said guys, drop a like if you like the video, and subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace out.